Today we are going to talk about the one actor who managed to steal the spotlight in Teen Wolf, even when he wasn't meant to. The guy who turned sarcasm into an art form, who made us laugh until our stomachs hurt, and then terrified us so deeply we had nightmares after watching his scenes. Yes, I'm talking about Dylan O'Brien, the heart, the soul, and sometimes the very backbone of Teen Wolf. When Teen Wolf premiered, nobody really expected the character of Stiles Stilinski to become the phenomenon that he did. After all, he wasn't the werewolf, he wasn't the brooding alpha, he wasn't even part of the supernatural at first. He was just the best friend. But Dylan O'Brien turned Stiles into something far greater. Without him, Teen Wolf wouldn't just feel incomplete, it wouldn't even feel like Teen Wolf. Welcome to TV series. If you're just joining us, please subscribe and don't forget to turn on the notifications bell for more videos. Trust me, what we're about to dive into will not only make you laugh, but also leave you wondering just how much Dylan O'Brien carried this series on his shoulders. Let's rewind for a moment. Imagine watching the first season. We meet Scott McCall, the awkward teen who suddenly becomes a werewolf. But who keeps him grounded? Who keeps him out of trouble, even when he can barely control his claws? That's right, Stiles. Dylan O'Brien's fast-talking, overly caffeinated, always scheming personality wasn't just comic relief. It was survival. Because without Stiles, Scott probably would have ended up exposing himself to the entire school by episode 3. One of the funniest moments early on was when Stiles tries to help Scott prepare for his first lacrosse game after turning into a werewolf. He's running around with this frantic energy, throwing advice that makes no sense, panicking more than Scott himself. Watching it, you almost felt like you were in the middle of a Saturday Night Live sketch, except it was inside a horror show. And that's the beauty of Dylan O'Brien. He blended humor with chaos in a way that made Teen Wolf feel alive. But here's where things shift. Stiles wasn't just comic relief. Dylan O'Brien gave him layers. Think about it. He wasn't the strongest, he wasn't the fastest, but he was the most loyal. He was human in a world full of monsters, and somehow, that made him scarier at times. Because while Scott had claws and Derek had muscles, Stiles had brains. He could outthink an enemy while the others were still figuring out what monster they were even facing. Remember the Nojitsun arc? That was Dylan O'Brien at his absolute peak. 1 second, he's Stiles, the lovable, awkward kid we'd all want as a best friend. The next second, he's Void Stiles, a trickster demon possessing his body, smirking in the shadows, whispering threats with a calmness that sent shivers down our spines. It was terrifying because it was Dylan O'Brien, our comic relief, our safety net, suddenly turning into the villain. Watching Void Stiles manipulate the pack was like watching a magician pull strings you didn't even know existed. One of the scariest moments was when he casually told Scott, "Everyone has to play." The tone, the darkness in his eyes, it was so unsettling. And yet, fans couldn't look away. It was like seeing your class clown suddenly deliver a Shakespearean tragedy. This is the power Dylan O'Brien had. He could swing the mood of an entire episode with just one expression. He made us laugh during the darkest battles, then made us cry when the reality of pain hit. And maybe that's why so many fans argue that Stiles was the real heart of Teen Wolf. Think about it. When Derek disappeared for long stretches, when characters came and went, even when Scott was struggling with leadership, Stiles was always there. He was the anchor, not just for Scott, but for the audience. He gave us someone human to hold on to when the supernatural went completely off the rails. And let's not ignore the friendships Dylan O'Brien brought to life. Scott and Stiles, the ultimate bromance. It wasn't just about saving each other, it was about needing each other. Scott may have been the true alpha, but Stiles was his true partner. Without Stiles, Scott wasn't a hero, he was just a teenager lost in chaos. Then there was his dynamic with Lydia. Oh boy! That slow-burn friendship-turned-romance was fueled almost entirely by Dylan's chemistry with Holland Roden. Every time Stiles looked at Lydia with that mix of admiration and hopeless love, you felt it. You rooted for him. And when they finally came together, it wasn't just a romance, it was years of growth, pain, and loyalty paying off. One of the funniest examples of Dylan O'Brien's magic is how he could make something terrifying hilarious. Imagine being trapped in a hospital surrounded by supernatural chaos. Anyone else would panic. Stiles, however, is cracking jokes, making sarcastic remarks, and somehow lightening the mood. It's like if someone was being chased by a zombie and instead of screaming, they were complaining about their shoes. That's Stiles. But then, just when you thought you could relax, Dylan flipped the switch. Suddenly, those same jokes came with an edge. That same voice could become cold and chilling. And that duality is what made his impact unmatched. Now, here's a question for you. What would Teen Wolf have been without Dylan O'Brien? Imagine 6 seasons with no Stiles Stilinski. No sarcastic comments, no loyal best friend, no Void Stiles arc. Would Scott's journey feel the same? Would Beacon Hills feel alive? Probably not. It would be like Batman without Alfred, Harry Potter without Ron Weasley, or Sherlock without Watson. Stiles wasn't just part of the show, he was the glue holding it together. And the proof is clear. When Dylan O'Brien couldn't appear in the later parts of the series due to his accident and other projects, fans felt the void instantly. Episodes felt darker, emptier, like something was missing. Because they were missing Stiles. And no amount of new characters could replace that. Dylan O'Brien's impact also stretched beyond the screen. His performance made Teen Wolf a cultural phenomenon. Fans didn't just watch for the werewolves, they watched for him. Memes, fan edits, quotes, Stiles was everywhere. Ask anyone about their favorite Teen Wolf moments, and I guarantee at least half of them involve Stiles. From the hilarious scene of him trying to climb out of a locker, to the terrifying moment of Void Stiles standing in the rain with that menacing grin, Dylan created moments that stuck. Even years later, people still talk about them, share them, and rewatch them. That's legacy. So, when we talk about Dylan O'Brien's impact on Teen Wolf, it's not just about being a fan favorite. It's about how he shaped the story, how he made the show unpredictable, how he became the heart even when he wasn't the hero. He taught us that sometimes the human character can be the bravest one of all. Okay, that's it for this episode. Thanks for watching. Please don't forget to share your thoughts in the comments section below. Was Dylan O'Brien the true star of Teen Wolf? Or do you think the show would have survived just fine without him? Please like, share, and subscribe for more. Because we've only just scratched the surface of Teen Wolf's greatest characters, and you won't want to miss what's coming next.